Will France support the U.S. being compensated?
I support the idea to have Ukraine first being compensated because they are the ones who have lose a lot of their fellow citizens and being destroyed by this attack. Second, all of those who paid for could be compensated, but not by Ukraine, by Russia, because they were the one to aggress.
Again, just so you understand, Europe is loaning the money to Ukraine. They get their money back.
No, in fact, to be frank, we paid. We paid 60% of the total effort, and it was through, like the US, loans, guarantee, grants, and we provided real money, to be clear.
Yeah.
We have 230 billion frozen assets in Europe, Russian assets, but this is not as a collateral of a loan because this is not our belonging. So they are frozen. If at the end of the day, in the negotiation we will have with Russia, they're ready to give it to us, super. It will be loan at the end of the day, and Russia would have paid for that.
If you
This is my
believe
wish.
that, it's okay with me.
Mr. President.
They get their money back, we don't, and now we do. But, you know, that's
We
only
will
fair.
fight post.
This is Michael Popok, Legal AF. I love at that press conference where people just sit there from mainstream media and don't say a darn thing as President Macron of France in front of Donald Trump, in fact, touches his arm at one point to correct him and set the record straight that the Europeans are in full support of Ukraine, that Ukraine was not the aggressor against Russia, that Zelensky is not a dictator without elections, as Donald Trump likes to say, and by the way, for good measure, Europe is not getting any of its money back. I mean, Donald Trump's big justification for trying to cut off Zelensky, cut off his legs, cut off his funding, cut off other anatomical parts, the big justification for that is that the Europeans are getting paid back 60% and we're not. And there you just saw Macron. And I love the Europeans here in this way. They have bound together and joined together. You've got the new German soon-to-be chancellor chastising the West, and particularly Donald Trump, using this moment to say, I am going to unify the Europe. I mean, I always get a little bit tingly when a German leader wants to unify Europe, but that's for another hot take. So you got this German leader saying he's on the alt-right saying we've got to unify against Donald Trump. We can't count on the West any longer. You've got Macron, who held about a week or so ago a secret but not so secret meeting that he called an emergency meeting of European leaders to talk about the Trump problem and how to unify against him. I'll leave it to Donald Trump. He's very good at unifying the world against the United States and against Donald Trump. Now we fast forward, same day that I had to do an earlier report, and I never thought I'd have to say this, that 3 countries voted at the UN against the sanction resolution against Russia for being the aggressor against Ukraine, our ally. You want to know the 3? I'll spot you the first 2, Russia and North Korea. The third is America. When was the last time the United States of America and the ambassador to the United States of America, a meat puppet named Elise Stefanik, who used to be in Congress, used to be a moderate until she decided that her claim to fame and fortune was by becoming out MAGA, and Donald Trump recognized her that way. She actually stood up with a placard that says, Honorable Elise Stefanik, United States of America, and said, I'm siding with the dictators. I'm siding with, even the optics of it wouldn't allow a normal, functional, not insane presidency, not corrupt presidency to allow their UN ambassador to do that. And now you've got on the same day, this is a terrible 24-hour news cycle for Donald Trump, but it's not aberrational. It is his very administration. It's corrupt. It's depraved. It has no morals. It has no values. It has no pole star to navigate by. And so when Macron, who's basically trying to be the leader of Europe, and he's going to have a fight with the Germany versus France. Where have I heard that before? It's going to be the fight for the center, the fight for the heart and soul of Europe. And what is their natural enemy? What is the predator of Europe right now? Not the United States per se, but Donald Trump and his administration. So I love that Macron went into the belly of the beast, the most inner of sanctums, the Oval Office, touched Donald Trump's hand to correct him in front of him. And look at Donald Trump. He didn't even correct Macron because he can't. He didn't say, well, we don't agree with the European position that Ukraine wasn't the aggressor here. See, this whole, right there, that was the lie. Donald Trump did not correct Macron and say out loud, well, with all due respect, we don't agree with you. And you know the American position. The American position is Russia was the victim of the war. Like, what are you mad? I mean, mad crazy, not mad. 2 weeks ago, I never thought I'd have to report on a vice president of the United States going to Munich. What is it with these German connections? Going to Munich and chastising our Democratic allies from the perch of an invited podium in which he told them that your brand of democracy sucks and you got to get on board with the Trumpian populist one, which is a phony brand of populism anyway. He doesn't represent everybody's interests. He represents his own and the billionaires. His goal is to make, I'm sure there's a whiteboard or a chalkboard somewhere in the White House that has $1 billion on it and it's circled and the end of the administration as the date. Because that's how much Donald Trump's going to try to grift for his family and himself before the end, like any good oligarch. So what does this demonstrate? Let's take a moment. Let's step back for a moment. What does this demonstrate? This demonstrates that Donald Trump, right, has no historical references and that the Europeans are finding their footing, just as the Democrats are finding their footing here in America in the House and the Senate. The Europeans, we were all caught off guard by the velocity of Donald Trump's corruption and insanity in office. Dan Bongiorno to be the deputy FBI director. My fellow podcaster? Well, why not? The head of the Pentagon is a guy that couldn't even make the starting line, couldn't crack the starting lineup of Fox and Friends weekday edition. He was aligned or he was relegated to the weekend edition. He's our Pentagon chief. So why a former public defender who never served in the intelligence community and was out there selling his name literally in a grift? Kash Patel is our FBI director. Why shouldn't a podcaster be the deputy director of the FBI? Listen, when the Democrats retake the House and the Senate and the White House, I'm going to put the people on the Midas Touch Network and myself up for higher office. Why not? If you agree, leave a comment here on the Legal AF YouTube channel. So, all kidding aside, the Europeans are they were shifting sands below them, and now they're going to unify. They're going to unify economically. They're going to unify politically. They're going to unify from an intelligence gathering standpoint, all to our dismay, all to our undermining American values and security because of this president. It's the natural reaction. How many fists can you shake at our allies without one of them punching you in the nuts? And that's what the Germans and the French are doing now. Going to continue to report on it. It's important at the intersection of law and politics. It's important that the world speak the truth to Donald Trump and that we listen. And that's why I'm bringing it up here on Legal AF. So until my next hot take, my next Legal AF, take a moment though. We're trying to kind of got stuck there. We need a few more subscribers this week. Try to get us over that hump. Get us to 485,000 subscribers on our way to 500,000. Got to crack that little ceiling that's developed here. I know you guys appreciate our content, appreciate our work. We appreciate you. So until my next reporting, I'm Michael Popok. I'm Michael Popok, and I got some big news for our audience. Most of you know me as the co-founder of Midas Touch's Legal AF and the Legal AF YouTube channel, or as a 35-year national trial lawyer. Now, building on what we started together on Legal AF, I've launched a new law firm, the Popok Firm, dedicated to obtaining justice through compassionate and zealous legal representation. At the Popok Firm, we are focused on obtaining justice for those who have been injured or damaged by a life-altering event by securing the highest dollar recoveries. I've been tirelessly fighting for justice for the last 35 years, so my own law firm organically building on my Legal AF work just feels right. And I've handpicked a team of top-tier trial fighters and settlement experts throughout all 50 states known as big auto injury attorneys who have the know-how to beat heartless insurance companies, corporations, government entities, and their attorneys. Big Auto's attorneys working with my firm are rock stars in their respective states. States and collectively responsible for billions of dollars in recoveries. So if you or a loved one have been on the wrong side of a catastrophic auto, motor vehicle, rideshare, or truck accident, suffered a personal injury, or been the victim of medical malpractice, employment harassment or discrimination, or suffered a violation of your civil and constitutional rights, then contact the Popok firm today at 1-877-POPOK-AF or by visiting my website at www.thepopokfirm.com and fill out a free case evaluation form. And if we determine that you have a case and you sign with us, we don't get paid unless you do. The Popok firm, fighting for your justice every step of the way.